Popularity does not always equal profit. Just because you are presenting an illusion of success publicly, that does not change the fact that it's still an illusion. There are gaming channels here on YouTube that are 10 times the size of my channel. They've got millions of subscribers. Their monthly views are triple, maybe even quadruple the size of my monthly viewership. But on the 20th of every month, when YouTube sends our payments, their monthly revenue checks are a fraction of what mine is. Why? Because popularity doesn't always equal profit. If advertisers are even willing to put money into gaming channels, they are investing pennies on the dollar because they know the people watching gaming channels, they know the people who spend their time playing video games, they ain't shopping at the mall. They're not spending their time online shopping at Amazon. They are too busy with a video game controller in one hand and spanking their wanker with the other, looking at cartoon images of Princess Zelda. Right now, the WNBA is surging in popularity. Well, one player in the dump is surging in popularity. Caitlin Clark has boosted attendance. She is drawing ratings that the WNBA hasn't seen in decades. For the first time ever, the WNBA lately, it has been the primary focus of the mainstream media. The NBA Finals has been completely overshadowed by Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. With that being the case, you would think this would be the year that the WNBA finally achieves the impossible. You would think this would be the year that the WNBA finally generates a peso in profit. We're not asking for much, just 1 peso, 1 won, 1 yen, 1 German mark. Adam Silver, he's not even asking for a penny. Just give us 1 Russian ruble in profit. But unfortunately for Kat Engelbert, not only is the WNBA still losing money, they are losing more money than ever. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link for channel memberships in the description below. Become a member and join us on Discord. We had a somewhat heated discussion yesterday talking about NHL and WNBA ratings. We have developed a good little group on Discord. It has been incredibly valuable for me because the group helps me a lot with the content. But if you want to support the channel, become a member today and join us on Discord. 2 years ago, the WNBA received a windfall of $75 million of sympathy money. Now, at the time, there was absolutely no reason for woke corporations to invest this much money in the dump, other than the fact that they felt sorry for them. Fast forward 2 years later, the WNBA is projected to lose $50 million this season. What? How in the hell is that even possible? When you receive an investment, you're supposed to turn that investment into a profit. Donald Trump turned, I think it was a $2 million investment from his father into $1 billion. That's how it's supposed to work. So how do you turn 75 million into a loss of 50 million? Well, KC, you don't know if this is true. The WNBA doesn't release their financials. Well, for starters, I'm going to assume it's true because this information, it's not coming from conservative media. It's not coming from Fox News or Outkick. It's not coming from the Daily Caller. That number, it was given to the Washington Post, and it came from 2 sources inside the WNBA front office who chose to remain anonymous like most WNBA players because they are not allowed to release the dump's financials. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the WNBA is so secretive when it comes to their financials? For years, dump divers have complained about this lack of transparency. They complained about their minimum wage salaries. They complained about chartered flights. Kat Engelbert, she ended up acquiescing to both of those demands. So, why does the diva of dump divas keep refusing to release the WNBA's financials publicly? Maybe, just maybe, She doesn't want you to know that her league is a huge embarrassing failure. When you have been in business for 28 years and you've never turned a profit, when you are projecting to lose another 50 million when you've already lost hundreds of millions of dollars in the past 3 decades, you're not running a business. You're running a charity. You're running a tax write-off for the NBA. Yet for some reason, there is this prevailing sense of entitlement throughout the WNBA. The dump believes they're entitled to hundreds of millions of dollars from the networks. According to the Washington Post, the networks, they're not going to determine the real value of the WNBA. Adam Silver in the NBA front office is going to determine the value. I'm no expert in broadcast negotiations, but this doesn't seem right to me. I've always been under the impression that the value of something is determined by what someone else is willing to pay for it. Adam Silver, he can set the value of the WNBA at $1 billion a year. Is there a network in America that's going to pay that amount? No. But to his credit, at least from a WNBA perspective, Adam Silver is being smart with these negotiations. Instead of having the WNBA as a standalone product, Adam Silver, he is including the dump in the same package as the NBA. Translation? This is just another way the NBA is subsidizing the dump. Why do you think Adam Silver is doing this? If the WNBA is so popular, why wouldn't he let them test the market to determine their true value? Maybe Adam Silver is worried that there would not be enough interest. That's not my opinion. Well, that is my opinion. In terms of value, the WNBA barely has any. But that opinion, it was confirmed by the Washington Post. They spoke with some dude named David Sampson. He's the former president of the Miami Marlins in Major League Baseball. Now, I have never heard of David Sampson before, but I would assume he is an expert in recognizing organizations that lack value. I mean, the dude ran a Major League Baseball team that can't draw flies to a fresh turd. But David Sampson, he compared the NBA's current strategy with the WNBA to buying followers on social media. On the surface, and maybe even in terms of public perception in the short term, it seems like you have value. Seems like you're popular, but the reality is, you're not. Now, I can only speculate, but it seems like Adam Silver isn't entirely confident that the WNBA can maintain this level of popularity, which is why he is including them in the NBA's broadcast package. To be honest with you, I think it's the right move by Adam Silver because I don't think the WNBA can maintain this level of popularity. This week, I have been watching The Defiant Ones. It's a documentary that was released a few years ago about the careers of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. Now, unlike pretend Dr. Jill Biden, Dr. Dre is a real doctor. He takes struggling artists and he turns them into mainstream superstars. I don't know what the hell Jill Biden does besides pretend to be a doctor and change her husband's Depends when he has accidents in public. But during the documentary, Dr. Dre explained how it's kind of easy to make a hit record. It's easy to obtain a small amount of success. It's damn near impossible to maintain it. Hard to stay on top, especially in the business of entertainment, because people get bored easily. The WNBA is not popular right now because of the product on the court. The basketball in the WNBA is just as boring as it was last year. The mainstream attention the dump is receiving, it's because of all the drama happening off the court. The jealousy and resentment of Caitlin Clark, the fake excuses as to why she was left off of Team USA in the Olympics, Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado creating stories about harassment. And by the way, did you know the Bravado had a game last night? Don't feel bad if you didn't. No one else knew either. The arena was damn near empty as the Bravado lost to the Suns from Connecticut. No one was talking about the game this morning. The media, they were talking about Angel Reese claiming the transition from LSU to the WNBA was easy. And they were talking about Teresa Weatherspoon, head coach of the Bravado, being combative with the media during a press conference. What the hell's going on in this league? Why are players and coaches so bitter? Why do they continue fighting with the media, the people who are giving them free publicity. This is why Kat Engelbert was so hesitant with chartered flights. When the WNBA announced that they were approving chartered flights, I told you guys they could not afford it. Private airfare costs the dump over $25 million a year. Now, if you remove chartered flights from the equation, WNBA is still losing $25 million this season. That is 2.5 times more than the $10 million they typically lose every year. And it ain't going to get better. Guess what happens next year? Well, Casey, the WNBA signs their new television deal. They are going to receive $200 million. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Hold the celebration, young wanker spanker. That money ain't going into the bank account. Guess where that money is probably going to go? The entitled players. Entitled dump divers, they have the option to opt out of their collective bargaining agreement next year. Now, this is pure speculation on my part, but I'd be willing to bet they are going to demand more money, higher salaries. And now they think they have the leverage. The same players who are jealous of Caitlin Clark, they are going to use Katie Rue as leverage in their negotiations. Players who play games in empty high school gyms, they are going to demand hundreds of thousands of dollars. What happens if players demand to be paid, let's call it a minimum of $500,000 a year? At minimum. That is $72 million a year for the WNBA. And those could be minimum salaries. That doesn't include max contract players. Do you see how fast the money can disappear? This is the absolute worst time for Kat Engelbert and the WNBA to negotiate a new CBA, because the players have this illusion, and it is an illusion, that this success is sustainable, when the reality is there's only one draw in this league. What happens if, God forbid, Caitlin Clark gets injured? What happens if the Indiana Felines suck for years and she never makes the playoffs? What happens if Caitlin Clark doesn't become a winner in the next 2 or 3 years? How long will the casual audience, which is the only audience the WNBA has, how long will they stick around and be willing to watch? You also have to consider the fact that there are people in the mainstream media who want to keep the WNBA all to themselves. So, how long will this be sustainable? You tell me, is the popularity of the WNBA sustainable? Also, give me your thoughts on the WNBA projecting to lose $50 million this season. Where's the money going? How can this league transition from being a charity to being an actual business? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.